welcome. Thank you for doing this again.
Absolutely.
So
thanks for having me.
So everyone knows we're at the winery. We put him through the ringer, and he's all about California wine.
I am
for the most part.
Absolutely. I've had a lot of years away from California wine. It's good to be back to California wine.
Well, thank you for coming out and taking your time. So,
Yeah.
I want to start at the beginning.
Okay.
Okay. Well, first, actually, congratulations.
Thank you.
Big congratulations.
It's an honor to be here. It's a special place, a lot of special people. It's been, I've only been here a week, but it's been an incredible week.
You said 5 days.
5 days, got in Sunday night.
What's it? You had told us before it's been kind of hectic.
Sure.
You're running around. But what have the 5 days been like?
You know, it's really, like I said in my press conference, it's been the look, listen, and learn tour. Like, you can't, everyone wants change. Well, you can't make change until you understand historically how things have happened here, what changes need to happen, and what the priorities are of, the president, because we always want to align with the university, and with our coaching staff and our student athletes. And so I've been meeting with student athletes. I've been meeting with almost every unit in the athletic department. I've had a lot of meetings with the president, with Debbie A. Stone, as well as have had some great food, meeting some great supporters of Bulldog Athletics. I went to an amazing Armenian restaurant yesterday, and getting out and just talking, listening, and hearing what's going on, because this fan base is passionate. And I've worked at some places with passionate fan bases, and I would put the Red Wave up against anyone.
Could you quickly share? I overheard you speaking at the bar and when we were getting to know each other about the difference of the Central Valley compared to the rest of California when it comes to fans.
Yes.
'Cause fan means fanatical, but at the same time, are some places in California actually fanatical?
Well, I don't want to get in trouble, but yes, it goes back to my wife being from the East Bay, and I spent 8 years in Oregon, and I think the coast is pretty similar up and down on the West Coast, and I just feel like the Valley is probably the only place in California that I've witnessed that the fans are actually fanatical. They stay for games. They build their schedules around games. They make sure weddings aren't on Bulldog Saturdays, where, if you're spending a lot of time in the East Bay, I always would give my father-in-law grief going, who are you rooting for this year, the Athletics or the Giants? Or are you rooting for the Raiders or are you rooting for the Niners? And it's like, well, whoever's winning this year. Right. Or I gave the example at the bar, like, if the Chargers are down by 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, like, oh, let's just go to the beach. Where I feel like here, given the background and the passion, like, these are true fanatical fans, and similar to what I've experienced in the Big Ten and the SEC and the Big 12. So it's fun. I even if fans are upset, I'd rather have them upset than be apathetic and not care.
Right.
And these fans, I can tell after 1 week, they care.
Right. I would agree. I would agree with that. You, Cole, in your experience, would you agree with that?
Yeah, of course. I'm here. Yes, yeah. No, by the way.
Thank you, Cole. Yes.
Not that it's about me. If you hear my voice, that's why.
Yes. I threw Cole under the bus. Not under the bus. I threw him into the fire today. So thank you, Cole, for being here as well.
Yeah, of course. See what I come up with.
So we all heard your press conference, and if you haven't, I encourage you to go listen. But you are originally from a dairy.
I am.
So you understand the family business aspect of agriculture.
Yep.
How would you say that, what did you learn? What would you say you learned being on the dairy, growing up, I say when people work in agriculture, you have to start from the bottom.
Yep.
And so you learn to work hard.
Yep.
What did you learn on the dairy that you have taken into the athletic world now?
I mean, really, I learned everything from the dairy. Like, I didn't learn the business of college athletics, but you think about it, and only being here in a week, it'd be a little disingenuous to say I know exactly what's in the DNA of someone from the Valley, but I have a pretty good idea, and it's exactly how I grew up. I mean, waking up every morning at 5:30 a.m. to milk the cows before I went to school, getting off the school bus at 4:30, changing your clothes, going down to milk the cows at night. My friends in school are celebrating with school that's out for the summer because they get to go to the pool all summer, and we're making hay and doing crops. But it's fun. It's a great way to grow up. I mean, I think everyone should be close to the soil, close to the earth, and understand what that means. And I have to tell you, it's in my DNA that we're going to work hard. You have a little bit of chip on your shoulder. I mean, Fresno State for years has had success not because they have the best facilities in the conference, not even close. They've had success because of the type of kids that are from this region, the type of type of coaches you get from this region, and the fan base. And so I want to make sure that I bring those values here. And I think, quite honestly, he hasn't said that, but I would think that was some of the allure for President Jimenez Sandoval. He wanted to hire someone that could speak to the people of this valley. And especially, I spent some time at Nebraska, another very agricultural school. I'm excited to meet up with everyone in the agricultural businesses and especially the dairies. You know, it's in my blood. I love it.
So I'm guessing that's one of the reasons you pursued this occupation. But in general, why Fresno State? Why athletic director? Why did you want to come here?
Sure. I mean, I'll be honest with you. My first job in college came down to be working in the school cafeteria or the job in the Wisconsin athletic ticket office. And I'm glad I was in the ticket office because the last thing I want to do is be serving my friends food as they were coming through the cafeteria. And I'll be honest with you, I started in athletics before I even knew you could have a career in it. Back then, what was it, 1995? There weren't very many schools that had sports management programs. There was probably University of Georgia, University of Ohio. But I met a gentleman named John Sheffield. He was my mentor. Rest in peace, John. But he was the man, almost like a second father, that said, hey, you have talent. Like, you should stay in this business. And my dream job at that time was I wanted to be the ticket director at University of Wisconsin. But as times change and you get in the business and you learn more, and I got into the fundraising side of things and then the revenue generation and then the administration side of things, I developed a true passion for the student-athlete experience. I mean, this sounds cliche, but I am a strong believer that the student-athletes are the most employable people on earth because I just think they learn lessons in sports that aren't being taught in everyday values anymore, whether it's teamwork, communication, facing adversity, being competitive. Those things are all aspects that you need in everyday life, and I'm not sure that other students are blessed to have those types of things because they are teaching it and learning it every single day. And so I love seeing student athletes, and I still keep in touch with student athletes from when I was athletic director at UIC, when I was at Oregon. It's fun to see young people grow, and now that I have my own children, young boys, like, I didn't have that aspect early in my career. Now I have my own children, but it's still as fun to watch and see. And so that's why I chose college athletics. And then, of course, sports, right? Sports is the great unifier in this country. Seeing people come together on Saturdays at football games is just so much fun. I mean, you can't beat it. I'm very blessed to say that my two careers have been agricultural and sports. I mean, there's probably a lot of people, especially in this valley, that wish they had that same dream come true.
Yeah, either you're being politically correct or you're the perfect hire for Fresno State athletic director.
Well, on paper, but I got to get stuff done, right?
That's true.
Anyone can come out there and sell a vision, right? But you have to roll up your sleeves, get to work, and have a plan and be able to implement that plan. So,
right.
But thank you.
Well, part of that vision in your press conference, you said, is to win.
For sure.
You have to win.
Yep.
So, my question, I guess the next question is, how do we win? We've had successful programs. We do have successful programs. Yeah. And this goes, Cole and I were talking before, and one of his main questions for you was, I'm kind of stealing it from you, Cole, but was, what are you going to do to continue that?
Yep.
And then what are you going to do for the places where Fresno State struggles?
Yep.
To build those.
Yep. And it might be a little premature to say this just because the president and I haven't had this discussion, but I did a facility tour yesterday, and it's very obvious we have a lot of infrastructure work that needs to be done for all of our sports programs, and especially football. And so when I went through and did that tour, I understand that there's been previous athletic directors that have released some very big master facility plans, and that's important, right? But at the same time, I think our fan base, our donor base needs to understand that, hey, we can get something done here. We can get projects done. We can't go out there and raise $150 million until we, knock out a couple $5-10 million projects. And so that's my initial thought. I mean, that could be changing next week as I learn some more. But the reality is we need a bigger weight room, which would service all of our student athletes. Mm-hmm. Our nutrition is such a huge part of being an elite student athlete and winning at the highest level. And our kids are eating out of a trailer that's been there 15, 20 years. I don't know exactly how long. Mm-hmm. And that would impact every single student athlete. So there's things that we can do to help the entire program, quite honestly. And there's there's little things, and we have to be able to go out, and I need to put that on paper and show the vision, and we have to show progress. But they've been winning here a long time. They're going to win here. They won here long before Garrett Klassy. They're going to win here long after Garrett Klassy, right? It's because it's the Valley, it's the people. Had that conversation with Coach Tedford during the process. Had that conversation with Coach Hill yesterday. Like, it is the people that makes this place special. So Fresno State's always going to win, but we're going to win at a high level. And it's a long-winded answer. I could go longer. I mean, I could get into NIL, and I don't have any questions for that later.
We will talk about NIL.
Okay,
yes.
so I won't get into that. But, I mean, that's on the very surface level because college athletics, the business is changing, and so we're going to need everyone's support to win at a high level from here on out as well.
Right. Did that kind of answer your question, Cole, that we were talking about earlier?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, you can't. I mean, dude's been here for a week, so you can't ask for more than that. So.
Right.
Well, I researched it for a good month, so yeah, I got a little bit of a background on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the pizza's here.
Oh, look at Mrs. Nail bringing out the goods here. I appreciate it.
Okay, so this is... Okay, thanks, Mom. So this is a brick oven, Neapolitan-style pizza, real wood fire, not gas. My wife and I started doing this before we had kids. Okay. And then once Truett came around,
so the pizza is kind of your baby in the operation.
It's my wife's baby.
Okay.
Yes. She worked for a gentleman that had the oven. And she learned under this gentleman, and then she took it and ran with it. So
got it.
That's all, and it's all homemade. So that's
Looks
for you.
incredible.
You take pepperoni margarita. This is a special. I don't know what's in it. I just ordered the chef special.
No clue,
but
Caleb.
You take whatever you want. That's all yours.
Thank you.
I want to go back to your early career. So you're at UIC, and I read, you got large donations at UIC, stuff that they hadn't seen before, and then setting up NIL at Nebraska, getting deals at Houston. What's kind of behind all that? What does Garrett Klassy, when Garrett Klassy comes in, what's his goal to raise money?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been in revenue generation, right? Ticket operations, ticket sales, and then in the fundraising world when I arrived at the University of Oregon. And I have to be honest with you, Oregon had a lot of great success when I was there. And when I left Oregon to go to George Washington, I thought fundraising was really going to golf tournaments, having beer with donors, selling suites, premium seats, and they're writing checks and opening check. Well, that's still how fundraising is done in a lot of the Power 4 institutions. But going to George Washington and going to UIC, you truly had to raise philanthropic giving. You truly had to sell and articulate a vision and make an ask. And so I learned a lot about myself. I mean, funny story, my first week on the job at GW, I'm going to meet a mother of one of our GW sailors. Yes, sailing was a sport at GW. And she was on the top floor of the Macy's building somewhere in New York City. And I got up there, and she didn't want to talk about GW athletics. She wanted to talk about politics. She wanted to talk about the education school. She wanted to talk about the stock market. Things, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't really well versed on. And so I come home on that train that day kind of defeated, like, man, can I adapt to this style? Like, I need to learn. And so the Wall Street Journal shows up at the house the next day, and my wife is like, you don't read that stuff. What's going on? And I said, well, I have to change with the times. I have to learn more about the campus side of things. I have to learn more about business. And that was really a transition for me from a fundraising standpoint. And so, and then I would say the other piece was living in D.C. and Chicago. I always followed a lot of very successful athletic directors on how they operated their businesses, and I still do. But I was surrounded by more Fortune 500 CEOs, and I really took to heart their guidance on how to run and operate like a business. Higher ed is not set up to operate like a business, and for obvious reasons. But as much as we can control and run our operation at Fresno State like a business, the better off we're going to be, especially with the changing times in college athletics. So that's kind of the background from the fundraising side of things. And then with NIL, I would say that business sense allowed us to prepare at Nebraska. We were ready a year prior to the July 1st, 2020 release of NIL. We had Open Doors. We were the first client of Open Doors. Our kids were learning how to portray and elevate their brand. We had classes set up on campus a full year prior to that. We actually had the first collective set up in the country, I believe. It's not on record, but I believe, we were ready to go with these types of marketing deals on day one. And there's a lot of athletic directors went kicking and screaming and said, nope, this isn't going to happen. Not going to happen. Like, no, you know, what we've done the previous 20 years in Nebraska wasn't working because it had been 20 years since they won a conference championship. We need to think differently. And I take a lot of pride in thinking differently. And so I tell that to the fan base because we're going to swing a lot and we're going to miss a lot, but we're going to hit some home runs too. And I just believe there's a lot of value in taking action, not just planning and gathering information. We got to take some action on some things.
Now, I've ran into multiple people, and I think this too. No, some people could say, well, it's a lot easier at Nebraska.
Sure.
Right? And so what I want to know, what did you learn from Nebraska?
Yeah.
Coming to a, well, what do we say, G5, lesser known college?
Hey, the one thing I will tell you is that I think anyone that's an athletic director has aspirational goals, right? And if you haven't seen how the best is doing it, then how do you know what it is to get there? And so my experience at Alabama, at Oregon, and Nebraska, being at those types of schools, it's going to help me formulate our vision here at Fresno State. So you learn a lot. And then just, you know, I think talking to the agricultural people in Nebraska, that obviously is going to translate, I hope, here to the Valley. And I just think, you know, that was the first time I oversaw the football program was at Nebraska. So there's always bits and pieces that you can learn from every school. But, you know, my leadership style is formulated by all the great leaders that I've worked for. I've taken some good from them, and I learned some things that I wouldn't do from them, right? And so I think anywhere you work, you're going to gain valuable experience. And yes, Nebraska's a unique situation. The whole state from corner to corner love the Huskers, and they've sold at every game since, I believe, 1962. And yes, those things you can't duplicate, but how do you operate your business every day? How do you achieve excellence? Those things always correlate to any school.
Mm-hmm. Cole's learning that right now. We're going to have big wineries.
Yes.
See how the big wineries work, and then...
Yeah, our family business is a disaster.
I wouldn't go that. Man, these wines are incredible. No. Givali, come out here. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Great wood-fired pizzas. I tell you, Red Wave, you need to come out here and support these guys. It's an incredible business.
No, we do have a great time, but there's definitely business is our life. And it melds into everything. So
right, and how you run it, how you show up to work every day, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. You learn from I would say people that bring in lots of revenue, you can learn from them. But yeah,
for sure.
How do I want to say this? I don't know.
Well,
go ahead.
Could you ever see I guess this is more of a hypothetical. Could you ever see college athletics kind of becoming more of a semi-pro league? I'm breaking off from schools because
like a minor league,
like a minor league almost. Yeah, especially football programs. I mean, schools would probably fight for it because it's so expensive. But I would never give to an entity like Fresno State just based off of you go to a class about California's earth systems, and you learn about how California is created according to the theory of evolution.
Yep.
But I don't believe in that. Why am I going to support an entity that doesn't do that, right? So for athletics purposes, though, I love Fresno State athletics, and I would want to give to that.
Sure.
But because it's the same entity, I would pull back. Not that I have money to give.
Yep.
Right.
You will. Once you take over these big wineries, the sky's the limit for you, Cole. I believe in you.
See.
Hey, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't see it ever a point where you see the professional leagues overseeing the leagues, but the reality is that the college system is a minor league for almost every sport. Mm-hmm. I mean, you think about only hockey and baseball have a true minor league system. I mean, NFL players are coming from college. And that's what's changing in college athletics is really scary with the revenue sharing, because I don't know if our industry understands the unintended consequences with the revenue sharing piece from the House settlement. Because at the end of the day, we're the only country in the world that doesn't have an Olympic training program. So these swimmers that you see winning gold medals, these track and field stars winning gold medals, any of these people that are winning gold medal, they're coming through the college system. And so now if more revenue needs to be shared with student athletes, what's going to happen? I don't know. Are some of these programs going to be cut? Are they going to be turned into club sport programs? And then now the government's going to have to end up subsidizing an Olympic sport training program like there is in every other country in the world. So I know it's a long-winded answer to get there, Cole, but we are a minor league system right now, and that could be going away especially for the Olympic sports. And I think that's a scary proposition because this country's not going to like it very much, and we can talk about it now that we're in Olympic season when we're falling behind our competitive countries in medal count. Like we're leading the nation or the world right now in medal count. That may not happen in the next Olympics in LA, incidentally. So it's we're going to have to adapt. We're going to have to change, but it's upon us, and it's my job as director of athletics to stay on top of it and position Fresno State University as best we can to tackle these changes.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't envy your job. That's for sure.
Hey, it's better than getting up at 5:30 a.m. and milking the cows every day.
I don't want to discourage anyone from college athletics. I don't think anyone is discouraged from college athletics. I think they find it fun, and like I would call college athletics. Well, actually, some people are going away from college athletics and would say high school athletics is the last true bastion of real sports. But I still enjoy college athletics, but because kids are getting paid, I think a lot of people are scared to touch it. But that being said, on the NIL side of things, we just saw, you spoke about the revenue sharing. How is this thing that came down? I don't know the exact name of it, but they increased the number of scholarships.
Correct. Yep.
How is that going to affect smaller schools? Because I don't know, and things like Title IX.
Sure.
How is it? Since you've seen the big and small of it, how do you think? Asking specifically for Fresno State, how is this going to affect us?
Yeah, the reality is we don't know, because even though there's been a perceived settlement, like the federal judge still hasn't approved that settlement. Okay. So, and we're not sure how Title IX is going to factor into it. I mean, some of the early reports suggest that a large percentage of the back pay from the House settlement is going to go to football and men's basketball players. Mm-hmm. And so if that's the case, then hopefully, or not hopefully, that might be the same way the money is distributed to the student athletes. But I'm sure OCR is going to have something to say about it. So we have to prepare for a lot of different scenarios. What we're doing is modeling out 10 different scenarios, and we probably need 110 different scenarios, but we have 10 that we're working on to figure out what's next and how we handle those types of things. And, we want our student athletes to be able to take advantage of the system as well, too. I mean, yeah, I understand we're not getting the same TV payout as the Big Ten and the SEC and the ACC and the Big 12, but we owe it to our student athletes when they come here to give them the best student athlete experience. And, based on your earlier comments, Caleb, I would say, the college experience, as long as the scholarship and the educational piece is there, college athletics is always going to be pure. Because if you think about it, college athletics is the second biggest supplier of athletic scholarships in the country behind the GI Bill. So we're churning out, and I mentioned earlier in this podcast, right, that student athletes are the most employable people in the country, is my opinion on that matter. And so as long as we're still doing something and they're getting the free education that goes along with the revenue sharing, and we're, especially at a place like Fresno State, right? I mean, President Jimenez Sandoval throws out this stat that 80% of the college graduates at Fresno State stay in the Valley. Mm-hmm. So, and that's true with our student athletes too. So we're providing to that workforce. So Fresno State fans in the Valley especially have great reasons to still follow no matter what the model is.
Right.
And I can tell you, I plan on, we're going to come out, if we handle this better than our peers, we're going to come out better and stronger throughout this whole process.
Mm-hmm. Now, what have you learned from your peers? You mentioned you have your leadership style you've taken from different things, different people. What would you say is the Garrett Klassy style, and what have you taken from your peers?
Thinking a little bit outside the box, being innovative, bold, trying some things that maybe people have not done before, and taking risks and thinking with a business mindset. I mean, we have to think with a business mindset, especially from a revenue generation piece. I think we have a distinct advantage having the athletic corporation being a 501c3 that maybe we're a little bit more nimble than a lot of schools that don't have that aspect, and we can monetize more assets. I mean, what's coming is the jersey patch for football, more logos on a logo placement for corporate sponsorships on the football field. Now, I'm sure there's some fans that are going to listen to this saying, man, we don't want to look like a minor league baseball park, but that's the reality. Do you want to watch winning, or do you want to see some logos on the field? And I have to tell you, coming from Houston, I went to Minute Maid Park to a bunch of Astros games. And that's viewed as one of the best experiences in Major League Baseball. And there's not a nook or cranny where there is not signage in that stadium. And the fans don't care. So I don't think it impacts the experience that much. It's just that college athletics was meant to be more pure. But the reality is that we need NIL dollars. We need more money for revenue sharing. And our fans, they want to, I know they come just to support the Bulldogs, but they want to support winning teams too. And we have to stay on top of that.
Did you have something?
No, that gets me excited.
Yeah.
Now, what are your goals year one? Like, what can you do year one so that we start to see these things? What are your plans?
Well, number one, I definitely within year one, I'd like to release a strategy, a strategic plan, and not just one that has fake metrics in there. I want to have some real metrics to hold myself and our staff and our coaching staff accountable so we can measure back and see where we're improving and where we need to improve. So I think that's one thing. I think our fan base deserves to know where we're headed, what things we want to tackle, and that all be included. Number two, I'd like to start fundraising for some of these smaller facility enhancements that we need to do to compete at the highest level. And then number three, build a culture in our athletic department to where everyone understands where we're going and where we're headed and what the priorities should be. We have to have a culture of excellence. We have to have a culture of accountability. I have to set those expectations, though, and then hold our staff accountable. So that's always a change from a cultural standpoint. And then the last thing, I think we really need to have a unified name, image, and likeness strategy. We have some great people working on it, and Chris Pacheco has been amazing starting Bulldog Bread. Marcus is doing a great job. We have some good staff internally working on it. But the reality is that if we don't get that strategy solidified, and there's a lot of great work being done. I'm not minimizing the work that's been done and what we're doing. We just need to elevate that a little bit because that's going to be the future of college athletics. And I really say to you all, like, if you're a business, this isn't about giving $1 million to the star quarterback. If you're a business, a $500 deal, $1,000 deal. Every business in America has a marketing budget. If they can do one deal for one volleyball player, for one football player, that makes a difference. And so part of my drive is getting out, meeting with every business owner, meeting with all these donors, and not just pitching the facilities and other areas we need improvements, but NIL. We have to be unified in that vision.
Right. Then we can keep the Evan Williams of the world and
yes.
I think our players. And
at least he ended up on my Packers.
So you're a Packers fan?
Hardcore. I'm an owner. I'm a team owner.
Oh, that's right.
So are my boys, Brody and Cade.
Oh yeah. My goodness.
I couldn't take any chance that my wife or in-laws turn them in the Niners fans, so I had to buy them a piece of Packers stock early.
So you like that new Jordan Love deal?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, I think from the business side of things, I always try to, dissect them from that point of view. No team has ever won a Super Bowl when quarterbacks had over 20% of the salary cap. I think the Chiefs have been the only one to do it. So it's a new era, but Brian Gutekunst keeps drafting well and start drafting studs like, Evan Williams and Devontae Adams. Keep drafting those types of kids. They're going to keep winning.
Now you just got to keep them.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. And Jordan Love, he's from here as well. He's from the Valley.
Turlock, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. Good old we should be Packers fans too. So we have family outside of Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay.
In Wisconsin.
Okay.
And I remember as a kid, we had Wisconsin come to town, and we played them. And the debate was, where's the real cheese from?
Man, please don't put me in that pickle. One of my best friend's wife does all the marketing for Wisconsin cheese. And I don't want to get in trouble, but
so Wisconsin.
I support the dairy industry overall.
Yeah, nationwide.
Yes. Yes. When's the last time you've been in Wisconsin? Have you ever visited your family there?
We have. It's been a while though.
Have you ever had a spotted cow beer when you're there?
I was not old enough to drink.
Okay, well that doesn't matter in Wisconsin. Not that I'm supporting underage drinking, but yes, my hometown in New Glarus, it's about 2,000 people, has probably the most popular craft beer, and it's New Glarus Brewing Company, but it's Spotted Cow.
Okay.
And it's everywhere. It goes viral. Like you'll see videos of when the Cubs play the Brewers, they'll be shoving Spotted Cow because you only can buy it in the state of Wisconsin. So they'll shove cases of Spotted Cow in the bus and bring it back to Illinois. And like J.J. Watt always talks about it because he's from Wisconsin and brings it with him places. So it's got a very cult-like following across the country.
Well, I think we're gonna have to tell our cousins to bring us some next time they come out.
Absolutely, it's my hometown.
That's great.
All right, no, well, never mind. We'll just call you.
That's right.
Yeah.
I should have a direct line to it.
Yeah. It was a terrible excuse. I should say, we weren't able to drink at that time. Because, I mean, we have a winery, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sure your first taste of wine was at age 21.
Yes.
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 The good law-abiding citizens that the Nail family is.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
I've been making wine since I was in 5th grade. Yeah, I didn't taste it.
Yeah. We had the mistake, short story, my dad made the mistake of handing us Heineken as the first beer. And
No, that was planned.
Yeah, it was planned, I'm sure. And I did not like beer after that. I will drink beer, and I do enjoy a cold beer, but I don't pick beer over wine. So if there's wine, I will drink the wine.
You better not. Just like I support the dairy industry, you better support the wine industry.
Right. Same with the raisins. I can't believe people don't buy raisins. Buy more raisins.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like candy, man.
That's all my boys eat. They're going to support it. And we have those little boxes of raisins all over the house.
It's God's candy. That's what we say.
I like
God's
it.
Candy.
Where do golden raisins come from? Different grapes, obviously.
Yes.
Does California make golden raisins?
Oh yeah.
They
All right.
must.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah, we don't. But yes, they are from here.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So you name it, we probably grow it here.
For sure.
Yeah.
25% of America's food comes from the valley.
Was it 90% of the world's almonds?
Wow. That's incredible. Think about that. 25% of America's food, 90% of the almonds.
It's either 80 or 90, so don't quote me on that.
I think 90% pistachios too. Could be more. Yeah.
It is nuts.
Right here.
It's nuts.
Yeah, it is nuts.
Yeah.
God.
I'm
Comedy hour here.
Goodness.
So we got your goal for this next year, and I like goals and expectations. Could say are the same, kind of.
Sure.
But I had some people reach out to me, and because I may have leaked to them that you were coming by.
Okay.
But they asked me specifically for expectations for the athletic department. Winning, raising money. I don't know if you could. I don't know if you could expand on that more. I told them I'd ask you, so
Sure.
I'm going to ask you. I don't.
Well, listen, we have to be realistic with our expectations. We've always at Fresno State outpunched above our weight class, right?
Right.
But we have to look at the resources we're providing and the different situations, right? I am all in on Coach Skipper. I need to make sure I support him, his coaching staff, and those student athletes. And yeah, I mean, the fans' expectations are what? To win the Mountain West Conference Championship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean that's our internal expectations, but you don't take the field, you don't play sports this level unless you're going out there to win every game. There's not a student athlete in the country. If not, there probably shouldn't be in college athletics, and especially at this level. So we want to win every time you're in the pool, tennis balls drop, you're running a track field court, you're on the football field, basketball court, you name it. We want to win. But I also, when I observe and I evaluate coaches and teams, I also have to be realistic. What resources are we providing to them in comparison to our peers? And so that's really where I set it. And yes, just because we're resourced 5th in the conference, there's other inherent advantages we have here. So you got to look at the big picture. It's not just dollars and cents, but that's how and how hard do the kids play for the coach? Are they going to classes? Are they good citizens? Are they integrating into the campus community? Like those things all have to check that box. But ultimately, they all know it comes down to wins and losses.
Right. The other question I got was everybody wants to know about this conference realignment stuff.
Sure.
And you were in Houston when it all went down.
Yep.
And now we have the Pac-12 is the Pac-2 now. There's rumors of them going to Big 12. What happens with the Mountain West? What are things?
Yeah.
Where do you find Fresno State? You haven't been here long, but where do you find Fresno in all of this?
Listen, I said this, I think I answered a question at the press conference,
Yeah.
and that answer hasn't changed. Fresno State needs to worry about being the best version of Fresno State that we can be, because I know what we can be. The Red Wave knows what we can be. If we take care of ourselves, we're not going to be left behind. Now, I will say it is my job to keep a pulse on what's happening, to make sure that we're positioned correctly, make sure we're telling our story authentically and thoughtfully, and then people know all the great things we're accomplishing. And President Jimenez Sandoval is really big on the branding and the storytelling piece as well, and I'm a big believer in that. So it's my job, it's the president's job to keep a pulse on it, but I can't have the fan base, I can't have our coaches, I can't have our staffs worried about what's next. That's me. We just have to position ourselves, keep winning at the level we do, keep providing resources for these student athletes, and it'll take care of itself. Fresno State's an iconic brand. I mean, I'll never forget those Pat Hill teams. I mean, people know about Fresno State. People know about the passion. They know about the population in the valley. It's a highly populated area. So Fresno State's going to be okay. We're not ever going to be left behind.
Mm-hmm. I agree. We shouldn't be. But I just saw a photo. I saw a photo of I am on X, former Twitter.
Sure.
And I follow a profile, and they post G5 football stuff, and he's in Florida taking pictures of bumper stickers with Fresno State stickers on it. I don't see this out here often. I said we're everywhere.
Yes.
And we are.
We are. I mean,
man.
It is. It's a passionate fan base. People care about this place. You don't see. I'm not going to mention any peers because I don't need to give anyone any bulletin board material. But you don't see a lot of our peers, with bumper stickers all over the country. Like this is a this is a passionate place. It really is.
I agree. Did you have something, Cole?
No.
Okay.
He's
Not
just
yet.
sipping a Syrah over there, having a good time. Man.
It's interesting.
Thinking about the big wedding coming up.
Yeah. Yep. Cole's getting married soon, so congratulations for that, Cole.
Yeah, congrats.
I got a quick one.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't have to elaborate. What do you think of our stadium deal?
Stadium deal?
Oh, yes.
I
Valley-
haven't the Valley
Valley Children's
Children's
Stadium.
House? I haven't dug deep into it, right? I mean, well, obviously, they're great partners. I'm glad that they're supporting Fresno State athletics. Haven't had a chance to meet the leadership from there, but I know I'm going to soon. So, I mean, they're awesome partners. They believe in what we're doing here, and I think that's great. I can't get into I haven't really gone through a fine-tooth comb in 5 days on that contract. But, hey, anyone wants to support us, they love us, we're going to love them, right? That's a good lesson in life, right? Love the people, love you, and we appreciate their commitment to Fresno State athletics.
And love your enemies. That's really important too.
I found the question that they're asking about student fees.
Sure.
And I've listened to people older than me that actually my dad talked about his time at Stanford and student fees, where they go. And I don't know if the athletic director has anything involved with student fees, but we have very cheap student fees, and Fresno State is comparatively is very inexpensive.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say cheap, inexpensive.
Sure.
But is there a way that we can fudge student fees to impact athletics and increase revenue from students towards athletics?
Yeah, I mean, that's a model that a lot of schools use, and I wouldn't say, I know you didn't mean it this way, Caleb. Fudge is probably the wrong term, but student fees help fund a lot of athletic departments, right? And not just athletic departments, a lot of programming on campus. And that's ultimately going to be up to President Jimenez Sandoval and Debbie Eastone to see what the future of that is here. I mean, what I need to do to make whatever the student fee is right now, we have to show at athletics that we're a huge part of the student life on this campus. And that's not just sporting events, but can we add concerts? Can we, how do we get our students to stay on campus? And how do we add value from an athletic perspective? Because you can't just take. You got to be able to provide something in return for them too if you're gonna do that. But we haven't had discussions on that. I know it's been brought up before. I've read and I understand that San Diego State's kind of used that model to help build their program as well too. And President Jimenez Sandoval and I have not had that discussion, but that wouldn't be an athletic department decision.
Right.
I was hired to fund this program based on everything but that, right? Because that I can't control that. I need to find new revenue opportunities, and that's what we're going to do.
I appreciate you answering that question because I know it's not your jurisdiction to talk about those things.
Yeah.
But so thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
But I do want to talk about, and you've probably seen it, how we are primarily a commuter school. The students, a large majority of our students drive to campus, don't live on campus.
Sure.
So, and I mean, the basketball season is going to change a lot this year, and I'm excited for it. But it has been a struggle to just get students to come out and party in the student section.
Yep.
Just on campus. And even when we were there 10 years ago.
Yeah, tickets are free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you saying, we have to take care of what's there and get students out there, because kind of the reason that this podcast is around. We struggled to get students who lived on campus to games.
Yeah.
So I commend you for 5 days in. Yeah.
Well, it has a lot to do with the product too. Coach Wahlberg is going to do a tremendous job for us. Coach White on the women's team, so that's part of it, right? But then we have to look under the hood and see what have we been doing to add value for them to come to games. I mean, I've often said this, and I haven't implemented this anywhere, but you think about the best fan experience in the world is probably minor league baseball in this country, because you got a bunch of teams that play 60 games a year, may only win 10 games a year, and they create an event around the event, and people want to go. And now I want our fans to care about the outcome of the game, but the reality is in minor league baseball, a lot of times they don't. They're going for the fun and the exciting things around it. And I believe in that. I think it's a great model, and we have to look at what works, what's going to talk to our student base here to get them to want to come to games, to care about the game too, but also what's the event around the event to get them there. Yeah. I don't have that answer, but I'll find it.
Score a run, $3 beer.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot around. It's a lot around about you can do concessionaire wise on adds value to it.
Yeah.
But you can't say that if we're a commuter school, you don't need them driving home after that game with $3 beer. So.
That's what you got to live on campus.
Well, I think it's the Blues. Is it the Blues? San Luis Obispo Blues. If I'm thinking right, baseball team in SLO, and it's kind of like a summer league for D1 athletes. I think.
Okay.
But all they do. I mean, if they score a run in an inning, I think beer's $3. That's what I would say.
There you go.
And the games are packed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, I understand the makeup and the demographic of our student body, but I've been at a lot of different schools, and hopefully this is my last stop. But the commuter school term is such a bad term because it really is. And I understand we don't have a ton of beds on campus. That's really how you get that moniker. Uh-huh. But by definition of whoever made the definition of a commuter school, UCLA is a commuter school, right? I mean, you live across the street from the campus, you're considered a commuter. So we have a lot of housing around campus. So, we just got to be able to tap into those resources, right? And so I think commuter school has been used as a negative for so many years, at least since I've been in college athletics or in higher ed, but that doesn't have to be a negative, right? And if there are kids that are coming from longer distances away, like, can we be, and maybe, I don't know how the Mountain West Conference TV contract is set up yet, but are we creative with our game times? I mean, do we get something maybe on a 5 o'clock a little bit earlier? Now, I know that wouldn't make our fans happy because they're working, but maybe we'd have a couple games a year during non-conference where we creative with our game time so that once they're on campus, they stay on campus. So nothing's off the table.
And as a dad with young kids now, I'm all for the earlier game times.
As long as they make their bedtimes, right? Yeah. Yes, I know how that works too.
See, I'm not, because I got to come from Paso now.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a Saturday.
How long is that drive?
Well, if it's Friday, I don't know. It's from my work, it's about 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. So I made it in an hour 45.
Hey, at Houston, we had people driving from San Antonio for every game. At Oregon, people from Portland coming every game. That's further. So you can do it, Cole.
If you're a real fan.
Well, the issue for me is I do the basketball podcast with Caleb, and that's, 2 games a week. And we got a game Tuesday night, so I'm already screwed on that, regardless of the time. Oh, man.
Well, I don't have any other questions as of right now. But I do want to tell everyone that Mr. Klassy spent, hours with us.
Way too long.
Talking beforehand. Yeah, and you were generous to us with your time. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
You are a great person.
Thank you.
I believe that after this, and
appreciate it.
I don't say that about everyone. Like, I think there are people that are evil.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
But you are a good person,
Thank
and you have our best interest in mind. So
Well, I
Thank
will.
you.
I'm always going to do what's best for the university, and I can't say that everyone in our business operates that way, but any decision ever made anywhere I've been, it's always for the best interest of the university, and I'm going to continue to operate that way. And I'm looking forward to meeting everyone, each and every person that listens to this, because it's important. We need everyone's help, whether it's tickets, whether it's positive social media posts, whether it's NIL. Like, we need everyone spreading the good word of Fresno State athletics. So I plan on being out and about, not just in this community, but every community in the valley, because it's going to be important to move this place forward for sure. And come to Givali. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Givali.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Great wines, great people. They got line dancing tonight, all kinds of cool events out here. So
we owe this guy
good stuff.
commission, man.
It's good. It's a fun place, and it's kid friendly and dog friendly, right? Pet friendly.
Unfortunately, not dog friendly.
It's not. Well, what's Mr. Bean doing over there then?
Yeah.
There's one mascot.
Well, see, we are dog friendly. Our
Okay.
dogs, they're not dog friendly.
Got it. Okay,
Yes.
got it. Well, regardless, come out here. We're having some wood fire pizza. Amazing stuff. So appreciate the hospitality.
Thank you very much.
That was an unsponsored segment.
Yeah. Appreciate it.